What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Uptown After Dark, the Uptown After Dark podcast. I am your host, Uptown Brown, Ratchet Poppy, Mr. Receipts, or some people refer to me as the sexual intellectual. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to everyone. If this is your first time tonight, we are going to talk about the terrible tools and not the people who just had badass babies during the pandemic, who were making pandemic babies. But we're gonna actually talk about the terrible tools in terms of relationships. Relationships when they hit the 2 year mark, it is definitely a landmark in a relationship. It is a crossroads, and it's kind of the time, especially when you get to that 2 year mark, transitioning into the 2 to 3 year mark. It could be very tough, right? The representative is gone, the honeymoon phase is over. And tonight we're going to discuss just being able to navigate through that territory to decide whether you can actually push through and survive and be able to have a successful relationship, or maybe not. And you decide that whatever relationship you're in is not working you, is not serving you, and maybe it's time for you to move on and transition into something different. Before we get started, you know what I'm saying? I always got to show love to my fam. Shout out to the Ratchet Thoughts of Iz's family. Shout out to Luke, the Harlem Skywalker, First Lady, Hollywood Executioner, Mel. Shout out to my engineer, Wolf. Shout out to WTF Studios. You know what I'm saying? We like it over here. Um, so we're going to jump into this episode. So, like I said, the terrible twos of relationships. 2 year mark, much like toddlers, toddlers, when you think of going through their terrible twos, they experience, temper tantrums, mood swings, they get defiant, and they're basically trying to establish their territory. They're coming into their own, they're coming into their own personalities, and sometimes the parents have to deal with the resistance of that, right? And adults, when they hit that 2 year mark in a relationship, right? You might see some behavior described disguised as other behavior. So you might see a temper tantrum or a mood swing when it's really just the fact that they don't really know how to express that the things that they thought were cute in the beginning, they no longer find cute, right? They thought it was cute that, you or didn't mind that maybe you're a person that was late all the time. Now they like, yo, you playing with my time, playing with my money. I bought tickets for something. I ain't trying to be late. I'm gonna see you when you get there. I'm gonna leave and leave. When before they had no problem waiting, they would sit there, talk to you while you getting dressed, help you go through, 100 different outfit changes, help you, zip up your dress, pull up your pants. You know what I'm saying? Now you're like, babe, I ain't got time for that. Like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Right. And that's just like one brief example of how just things that were okay in the beginning of a relationship, just, as time goes on, shit fades out. Right. Plus, one of the things that I think people know, but it's not really discussed often, is that it is easier to fall in love than it is to stay in love, right? Especially most people, by the time they hit their 2 year mark, they are not in the phase where they are cohabitating, right? So if you're not cohabitating, right, and your dating experience consists of dinner, sex, concert, sex, trips, sex, Netflix and chill, sex, right? Um, it is easy to convince yourself and feel the euphoria of just being in this relationship that is centered around good times, good food, alcohol, and sex. Sounds like the life of a rock star, right? But um, really, do you guys mind? I'm gonna take a drink. Yeah, you see that right there, Uptown. That's me. Anyway, um, it is easy to convince yourself that you're in love, because that's because you're experiencing this thing called love without responsibility. And that is not my concept. I don't want to, take credit for it. I'm gonna give that all to Shiny Culture from High 97. Their little guru segment that they got going on that I love listening to in the morning. But love without responsibility is definitely what you're experiencing. Like I said, if your relationship consists around nothing but good times and sexual activity, it is easy to feel the euphoria of being in love. But the second you add a little bit of reality to that, you add rent, car payments, you annoyed because your partner left the goddamn bathroom light on and you got $150 light bill. Um, you annoyed by the fact that you got we in prom season, you got graduation coming up, you got you know all of these other things, you got kids need braces, you're trying to save for your trip to your girl's trip to Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? You annoyed by the fact that your mate is snoring all the goddamn time, right? By the time you add these real life factors into the equation, it gets real, right? And then, people start to question things and, get to wondering, why am I here and is this really serving me and blah blah blah, right? You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna into all that in a minute. Um, but like I said, it's easier to fall in love than it is to stay in love, unfortunately. And when you hit that 2 year mark, you know, even if you're in a no pressure situation, right? Like you guys don't even have a title, you guys are kind of going with the flow. By the time you hit the 2 year mark, at least one of the two people involved are going to ask themselves, what are we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because usually when you hit the 2 year mark, you're trying to forecast whether you feel like you want to spend the next at least 2 years with this person, or you might want to decide you ready to plan a future and a life with this person. You might be ready to talk baby talk if y'all don't got kids, or maybe you have one child or two children and you want another child. Um, you might want to talk about cohabitating together, which means that you guys now got to have the uncomfortable conversation about finances and money. Um, it really starts to get real after the 2 year phase, and I think for some people, for the people who have difficulty transitioning past that, sometimes there comes this thing called self sabotage, right? Where you will find flaws and faults in everything just so you could use that as your way to exit out of the situation, instead of realizing that relationships take work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, although we all would love to have, like the fairy tale life, like the Huxtables, right? You know what I'm saying? Or any other couple that we've seen together for, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years, right? We all would love to have those relationships. But I mean, I'm pretty sure if you know anyone who's been in that type of situation, they will tell you that it takes work, right? It takes you always focused on why you here and why you love this person and the reasons why you love this person, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that for some people, the self sabotage, they might view it as a coping mechanism because maybe they've been hurt, and it is easier to, especially when you're in that 2 to 3 year period and things start to, I don't want to say go bad, but things start to, you're starting to have more issues than you did in that honeymoon phase. I think for some people, depending on your mindset, it might be easier to start over and look for something new than to push through, persevere, and work through the problems that you got going now. Because the reality is, right? Like we can't run forever, right? None of us is getting younger. Um, you know, it gets real. Um, it gets really real, and unless you want to be one of those people that is forever running, she's a runner, she's a track star. But if that's what you're trying to do, then Godspeed and make sure you got on your good running shoes. Um, but if you want to actually be able to persevere through that and have a relationship that's gonna stand the test of time, you're gonna go through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? They what's the saying that they say that there is no testimony without a test, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know, the 2 year itch, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to call it, the terrible twos, that may be part of your testimony. You know what I'm saying? And that's may be what it be. But if you run or you leave, you'll never get to the other side to figure out whether it was just a moment or whether it was just a chapter in the long story of you and your partner, but there's other chapters to go, right? You could either, close the book, finish it right then and there, or get through to them other chapters. You know what I'm saying? There might be some great chapters ahead, but if you don't take the time to figure it out and get to those chapters, how the hell are you gonna know? Um, I mean, and I definitely think that there's a certain novelty to when you're in a relationship. Those first 2 years, you know, like I said, it's all centered around just fun and there's a euphoria attached to it. Um, but you know, you get to that second year, get into that third year, the expectations is gonna change. You know what I'm saying? You know, um, you gotta, and especially if during that 2 year period, there were some bumps in the road, right? Because I believe, and a lot of people don't talk about this, right? But I'm not gonna say this applies to everybody, but I think there are some people, right? Let's say you take a couple, they've been together 2 years, right? That first 3 to 6 months of their 2 years, at least one of those two people might have still been having overlap from previous situations. It's possible. And if y'all had to get through that overlap and that overlap made you have trust issues with your partner, right? By the time you get to the 2 year period, that may come up, especially when you get to the process of when you get to the place where you're thinking about how do we move forward? What's the next steps for us? Right? That overlap may come up in the conversation. Y'all thought you might have thought you've been over it because that was in the beginning. You wasn't sure what they was doing, so you still had somebody on the side. Like it happens, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's justified, but it happens, right? At least one of the two people involved, if not both, right? So if y'all both had overlap, that means y'all both looking at each other crazy, you know what I'm saying? And now y'all trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how do we move forward? How do we move past this, right? We both had our overlap. We did what we did. We got over it. Let's figure out what we're gonna do now. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to let your past affect your present, and you definitely don't want to let your past affect your future, right? Because you know, listen, the dating pool as it exists right now got pee in it, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you got somebody good and you got somebody that is you can see a future with, You got somebody that, you know, after 2 years, they probably done met your friends, maybe met your kids. Uh, you guys have already started to intermingle your lives with each other, right? They know some of your family, they know your friends, they they've helped you grow. Just because they may have some qualities that you don't like, is it worth risking going back into this dating pool that we know is horrible right now? It got pee in it, it got a whole bunch of red cups in it, it got, what I'm saying, condom wrappers in it, it got a whole bunch of stuff in it. It got probably got some turds in there, probably got, what I'm saying, a few STDs floating around in there from all the people that have been, what I'm saying? Like that's what the dating pool looks like. Right? Do you really ready to jump back in the dating pool just because you mad because Shorty don't got that perfect BBL body that you wanted, right? You know what I'm saying? Or he 5'7" and you wanted a dude that's 6'2", you know what I'm saying? Or he a bus driver, you know what I'm saying? And you want, uh, a six-figure dude. I mean, whatever the reason is, like, are you ready to risk jumping back into the dating pool because of the it's like the whole concept of why did I get married? Like the 80-20 rule. Like this person is giving you 80, right? And now you out there searching for the other 20, you know what I'm saying? And or the person's giving you 80 and the 20% of things that you don't like about this person. How are you really valuing this 20%? How is your perception of this 20%? Is this 20% really 20%? But then when you get angry and things get inflated and exaggerated, that 20%, you're really looking at it like it's 50% and you looking for a way out because this is part of your self-sabotaging and your coping mechanism and whatever, or is it really just 20% and you got a good solid person on your hands and you really just need to stop being a coward and keep pushing forward? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think that is up to all of you lovely individuals who may be experiencing this to decide. I think that listen, like I said, it's tough out here. And it's not getting any easier. We not getting any younger. You know, uh, I mean, unless y'all all waiting for AI to come around and uh, make the dating scene better for us, I think AI is gonna make it worse. But who knows? AI might be the answer. I don't know. But how do we get through these times so that way we can get to some relationship success, right? That's the next thing we're going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? We talked about all of the terrible things that can happen in this 2 to 3 year transition. Now we're going to talk about how do we get through this? How do we persevere? How do we, you know, uh, have this test and this testimony? So that's what I'm about to go into next. Give me a second, you guys. Right. So, how do we get through this, right? And these are not in any particular order, but definitely having patience is a good way to get through this. But you need a way to like focus and narrow in your patience, right? So your patience should be centered around the things that you love about this person, the value that they add to your life, the growth that you may have experienced being with this person, right? So that way your patience has a purpose and you're not just having patience just for the sake of having patience, but you have tangible things to focus on, so that way your patience really really is doing what it's supposed to do. Don't self-sabotage. I talked about self-sabotage earlier tonight, and Self sabotage is a matter of self reflection, right? Because some people self sabotage and they don't even know it. Um, there are other people who they may not know they're self sabotaging, right? So if you don't know that you're self sabotaging, um, sometimes it's good to seek the counsel of someone that you know you love and trust and they got your back. Have a conversation with them because they may be able to notice some things about you that you just aren't aware of, right? And through having a conversation with this person, they may be able to identify some things to you, and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I did that." So now that you have that, you're able to identify that you could possibly be self sabotaging. You can come up with a game plan to not do that because again, like I said, if you want to be a runner, you want to be a track star, you want to just keep running through this cycle of, you know, every 2 to 3 years you dating a new person, that's cool. But as you get older, that shit is gonna get whacker, it's gonna get harder, and it's gonna do more damage to you internally. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Maybe you wanna, if you wanna get past that 2 year hump, you gotta put in the work. Like nobody, I mean, relationships when they're good, they are amazing. They are phenomenal. They are, the best thing since sliced bread. But when they bad, it's bad, right? You know what I'm saying? Um, and no relationship is good all the time. You know what I'm saying, I mean, listen, you could be the person that makes the best fried chicken in the world. Everybody, even the best chefs, everybody got an off day. Relationships has to have off days. It's okay to be in a relationship and have a bad day. It is okay to be in a relationship and say, I can't stand this month. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. You know, how you deal with it, you know what I'm saying? Um, Long term is going to be the real test for you. But if you have a day where you walk home, you get into an argument over something that is small to you, right? You was outside, you know, you hug the woman, you got some makeup on your shirt, your woman think, you know what I'm saying, you was out here, you know what I'm saying, boinking, and she ain't hearing it and you don't want to argue. So you know what, you just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go outside, take a walk because I don't want to be sitting here trapped with this energy, right? It's okay to do that as long as you guys can come back together, have a conversation, realize that, that's your baby and you still love her and yeah, good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay to have bad days, right? It's perfectly okay. How you get through it is going to be, like I said, the real test. Uh Honesty with your partner is always the way to go. Um, you know, but even with honesty, I tell people honesty is a two-way street, right? Like if you want someone to be honest with you, you have to have and create an environment in which they feel comfortable being honest with you. So when a person is honest with you and you overreact, you almost guarantee that next time when they got to be honest with you, they are going to second guess whether they can feel comfortable being honest with you because your reaction may not have been the best. So for people that want honesty, just understand that honesty is a two-way street. If you want honesty, you got to create an environment in which your partner feels comfortable being honest with you. Right. Just don't think that, you know what I'm saying, somebody gonna be honest with you, you get the black out, and then they gonna still feel, oh, I can't wait till the next time. Like, nah. They gonna sit there and second, like, I don't know. Last time, there was dishes flying and I think she put some extra scotch bonnets in my food, you know what I'm saying, try to take me out. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need all that. So just, keep that in mind. Uh Try to remember why you fell in love with the person and do the things that you did when you first got with each other. But leave the representative at home. If you were showing the person your representative in the beginning, if you were, and I mean, everybody in the beginning tends to put their best foot forward. There might be a little air of phone in the building, you know what I'm saying? Believe the phony fake shit at home, you know what I'm saying? Just enjoy being with each other without the representative shit and get back to that place where you fell in love, you know what I'm saying? And make sure that you get us some extra shots that night so that way y'all could go home and have some great sex. You know what I'm saying? That'll help. Um, do the self reflection that you need to do uh to for so this thing to have the longevity. So ask yourself, do you want to be there? Um, are you getting what you need from your partner? Um, and when you ask yourself these questions, make sure that you know you attempt to come up with solutions, right? Like, because if you ask yourself, "What am I getting what I need from my partner?" and the answer that you come up with is no, figure out what you need, what you feel like is missing, so that way, when you attempt to have this conversation, you can be able to communicate to your partner what you may need, right? Don't just ask the question and expect them to come up with the solutions on their own. Sometimes people need a little of assistance. Men are slow. We need assistance. You know what I'm saying, you know, men are very slow. You know, ask yourself, are you putting in the work needed to make this relationship sustainable? And also ask yourself, uh, do you have the chemistry and the compatibility needed for your relationship to work? Because if you have the chemistry but there is no compatibility, there's no longevity in that, right? Because chemistry is just, and it's really not even chemistry, but chemistry and compatibility sound more attractive together. But it's really just biology. It's really like biology. You are looking at this person and you realize you physically like how they look. You like their face, you like their physical structure, right? You know, maybe you guys have great intimacy together, but that doesn't equate to compatibility. You can have great sex with somebody and not be compatible with them worth a damn, right? That doesn't mean that, you guys are gonna vibe to the same music, enjoy the same movies, uh, wanna travel to the same places. Listen, if your person is a Vegas person and you a Miami person, listen, it's probably not gonna work. Unless y'all open minded and y'all like, we gonna take turns on this, right? But it's definitely better when y'all both are on the same page in regards to the things that you guys enjoy doing. And y'all don't need to be exactly there. Like there doesn't need to be a checklist. Like we like to go to the same place, but there should be some commonalities, more commonalities than discrepancies, right? Um, you know, and that is definitely important. Ask yourself, are you putting in the work, right? And you gotta ask yourself, are you putting in the work? Because if you're feeling some type of way when you get to this 2 year mark, right? Um, the self reflection is so that you can take accountability and not just point at your partner and say, well, they're not doing XYZ and this is why it's not working out. Take some accountability for yourself, which is why you got to ask yourself, are you doing the work necessary to make this relationship successful? Because if you're not doing your part and the other person not doing their part, you know, then if nobody's really out here really working, then how you expect it to move on and transition to this next level to get to the 3, 4, 10, 20 year period. And you know, I'm glad to see that we are in an era and chapter in life where people are open and embracing therapy. So if you feel like your relationship needs therapy, um, for whatever the reasons may be, right? There could be tons of reasons. I don't have, listen, we don't got the time to get into all that today, right? However, um, if you feel like your relationship could benefit from therapy, um, I say go for it. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, because at the end of the day, you know, both of you guys are two individuals who had your own history and problems and trauma and good times and bad times before you met each other and got with each other, right? So, um, because you come with your own set of nuance, good and bad, things don't always align, right? So sometimes you might need a little bit of therapy just so you can help get to a common ground, right? That's really what it's about. Therapy is not meant to fix you, it's meant to assist you and point you in the direction so that way you can do what you need to do for you. But it's definitely a great tool, especially if when you get to this 2 year crossroad, this two in between 3 year crossroad, and you know that you love this person, but you find yourself getting into more arguments than and more disagreements than you used to. Maybe you need the therapy so that way there could be somebody to help regulate. It's like having a referee. Hopefully, who knows? But you know, these are the things that I think would help get you guys to have in this place where you can have the success in your relationship. You got to be patient. Don't self sabotage. Be honest with yourself and your partner. Uh, get rid of the representatives. Make sure that you prioritize date nights and quality time with each other. Um, make sure you do the self reflection, and within the self reflection, attempt to come up with solutions. Um, and ask yourself, are you really doing the work? Because it's really about, what I'm saying, doing the work. I'm about to get into this Ask Uptown segment. I know y'all love that. You know what I'm saying? Ask Uptown. Why people want to ask me for my advice? I don't know. But, I be trying. Listen, as long as I got uh material for Ask Uptown, I'm gonna keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day I'll help save someone's life. I'll help save someone's relationship. Then they'll invite me to their wedding. That'd be dope. If not, I'll just keep entertaining y'all with it. Either way, it's a win-win. So tonight's Ask Uptown. It says, "Dear Uptown, I am a woman in my early 40s, and I'm happily married to my husband for 20 years. And we have been together for a total of 26 years. That is a very long time. I am proud of them. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have had them sit here with me so that way, what I'm saying, we could discuss how to get past these terrible twos. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but they clearly they want to remain anonymous. Let's continue with the email. Right. Lately I've been lately we've been trying different things in the bedroom to keep it spicy. Nothing too extreme, but my husband is a traditional man. Uh she is thinking about she wants to add a third party in a relationship, and she wants the third party to be another dude. Oh. I don't know about all that. And she wants to know how should she tell her husband. Woo, Lord. she had said he is traditional. That means that you know what, let's go back to the beginning. All right, you know what I'm saying? So in her early 40s, see, the thing that people don't tell us about women, right, is that, a woman's sex drive increases exponentially when she hits her 40s, right? You know, listen, I will tell you that, based on my own personal experience, I think women are definitely uh more sexually liberated and open to trying different things in their 40s than they are in their 20s. A lot of people would love to believe that, when a woman is in her 20s or maybe she's in her college years and she gets experience. For those who don't get it then, if they don't get it then, they doing it in their 40s, right? Some women might go through both, but if they don't hit that experimental phase when they're in their college years in their 20s, they are definitely going to hit it in their 40s. I don't know what it is about a woman's hormones that changes in their 40s, ladies. If y'all want to, write in to, share why, please feel free because I don't know. I just know it happens. I don't know the reasons why. I definitely would love a woman to explain the why. Um, anyway, she says she's been with her husband. They've been married for 20 years, been together for 26 years, and he is the only man that she has ever been with. Um, also, she just wants some new dingling. She bored with it. Um, I mean, I think she needs to do some self reflection, right? Because depending on how strong that urge to sample a new product is going to be, it may determine on whether if her husband says no, she's going to be okay with it, or if her husband says no, whether she is going to attempt to sample some new products outside of him, right? So I think she got to really do some self reflection because, I mean, I can imagine, right? Especially when, if you have a healthy sex life, which includes, you know, you enjoying everything from role play to pornography, that if she's only experienced one and she's watching porn and she's seeing all the different sizes and shapes and all that, it might make her curious, right? I think personally, I feel bad for her, right? You 40 years, you in your 40s, you know what I'm saying? And you've only had one penis your entire life. You know what I'm saying? Some would say that's great, right? And it means that she's had a relationship with love and longevity. Um, and then others would say that she capped herself too early. I don't know. Only she has the answer to this, right? But she got to do that self reflection. She got to figure out how bad she really wants to sample. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you walk through the mall, you know what I'm saying? Bird and chicken, free she wanted the free sample. You know what I'm saying? She wanted a sample. Um, I think that in regards to telling her husband, go out to dinner, have a couple drinks, tell him at dinner because he is less likely to spaz out in a public place. If you're at home, he might lose his ish. You at dinner, nice intimate place, he might be less likely to uh be irate or get enraged if you're in a public place. Um be prepared for him to say no, right? Or, right, there's always a third option, right? Um there's this term that people use. They say fair exchange, no robbery, right? So I think what you really should be saying, young lady, is right. If you really want this, maybe you might be willing to give him a threesome first and bring another woman in, and then your return could be after that. Y'all could have a threesome and bring another man in. I mean, you know, uh, I remember earlier this week I was watching couples therapy hosted by AJ Johnson. You know, the mama from Baby Tyreek's mother and Baby Boy. You know what I'm saying? And a couple of years ago, she was on I think she was like on lip service with Angela Yee, and she talked about having a threesome with two men, and she said it was one of the best sexual experiences that she ever had. And people, said that, it really wasn't a threesome, it was two dudes running a train on her, and blah blah blah. Oh, hey, that's the other fact to that too, right? So she has to also ask herself, in the event her husband agrees, what level of participation does she want from her husband, right? Like, do you want them to just not touch each other at all and just focus on you, which would make that more of like a train scenario? Or maybe she might not mind imagine seeing her husband engage with another man, right? But if you watch your husband engage with another man, you got to think about that before you allow yourself to go there, because women are very visual creatures. And once she gets that image in her head of either her husband servicing another man or her husband getting serviced by another man, that vision could stay in her head forever. And now she don't even want her husband no more. She ready to, kick him to the curb. So do all of the self-reflection involved. Think about how far you want your husband to engage. Think about how bad you want this. Think about you creating an environment where maybe y'all could have a threesome with another woman and then you get your turn. Think about all of the factors and variables involved before you decide to have this conversation with your husband. But do it in a public place. Do it at dinner. That's my suggestion. So that way, he's less likely, if he blacks out, he's less likely to cause a scene in a public place. Or maybe because that's your man, he might do it anyway and wild out, and then I can't help you there. But that's all I got for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Uptown After Dark. Shout out to my RCI fam. Shout out to the executioner. Shout out to Mel. Shout out to my peoples over at the Convo, Zay and Danny. Shout out to uh, my dope engineer Wolf. Shout out to everybody, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to WCF. Catch y'all next time. This has been Uptown After Dark. And remember, you can live or be living. They are two different things. Decide which one you want to do, but you all got a choice. Live or be living. Peace.